Well, hello everybody. Welcome into our WLNS digital studio. We are breaking down the first day of fall camp for Michigan State's football team. This is a very exciting day. Obviously, football season is here. And so, yeah, I just wanted to give everybody kind of like a little update. We're going to try to do this as fall camp progresses and goes on this year leading up to the season opener against Western Michigan because, we are privy to getting an inside look at what's happening at practice and then obviously sitting in on the press conference. And I feel as though we have a lot of information that we never really get to fully share all of it in the 2.5, 3 minutes that we have in our sportscast. So this is a good way to get that information out there to all of you, as well as have you ask us some questions and just have a little conversation about what Michigan State football is up to right now. First day of fall camp, I would say, was very energetic just from walking into the practice facility. Andrew, I can talk to you, right?
Of course, yeah. I'm here.
Hello. Yeah, you're here, so I'm going to talk to you too. So walking into the practice facility for the first time today, you could see that obviously last year energy was very high, but this year, guys knew exactly sort of where to go. You can tell that it is year 3 under Mel Tucker. The coaching staff's in place. Everybody feels a lot more comfortable with everything that's happening when it comes to practice, and so they're moving quick. The guys mentioned that too, that the first day of camp this year compared to last year just went so much smoother.
Yeah, and it's just like this. Everyone says it's kind of cliche at this point, but it's like this is the first real year for Tucker because it was like you had the COVID year and then the second year no one really knew what to expect, and then this is okay. Now we're building on something for Michigan State here.
Yeah.
So a lot to grow with and a lot of excitement around the program right now for sure.
Absolutely, and so we're going to play. We were able to speak with linebacker Darius Snow. He transitioned over to linebacker this season. He told us today that he's going to be playing the Mike position, which is middle linebacker primarily, and then also will linebacker, which is weak side linebacker, and also he's going to be involved playing some nickel. So he calls himself an athlete. He doesn't want to be known as just one position. He can do it all, and so this is what he had to say about the first day this year compared to last year. Jeff was saying that it moved a lot faster compared to first day last year, first day this year. Did you see that?
Yeah, we're a better team. We're a better team, and I think anybody that watches the practice can see that. So that's definitely why, in my opinion.
What's one of the things that you noticed then that was different?
I think everybody just is aware of what we can do. Last year we were confident we could do it, but we hadn't done it yet. Now we've done it, and we have aspirations to do better than we did last year. But I think us knowing that we can do it as a team, as a group, just makes us all go harder.
So yeah, there's a lot of belief in what's going on right now and taking place, obviously, after an 11-2 season and a Peach Bowl victory, the defending Peach Bowl champions. And so some other questions that came up today and a big topic of conversation was the standard. And it's all what, the standard is the standard. But even though they were 11-2, finished 11-2 last year, and Peach Bowl victory, now it's like, okay, the bar has been raised even higher. And at Big Ten Football Media Days, Peyton Thorne, Jaden Reed, Xavier Henderson, Mel Tucker all talked about how, we have to do better. What happened last year, it just, it's not that it's not good enough, but they know that they want to win a championship. That is what it is.
Yeah, and it seems like in football, to me at least, more than any other sport, the cliches sort of are the reality. Like you actually do have to build on every single day.
Yeah.
And you do have to, those are just roadblocks, and you have to be better, improve every single day. Well, football is such a grind. I feel like it's just really is how it is. Like you can't just, mail it in one day. You have to go 100% speed every day. And I feel like in football, that mindset, you look at all the best coaches of all time, even dating back to Mark D'Antonio, Bill Belichick, Urban Meyer, whoever you want to say, they all sound the same, but that's for a reason.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they're preaching right now all throughout the football building. Every player will say that. And, there's a difference, or, Tucker was asked at the press conference today the difference between building and sustaining, and here's what he had to say.
We talk about attacking the standard like every day and raising the level of intensity in everything that you do every single day. And so that's how you avoid complacency or, guys looking in the rearview mirror, things like that. So if every day in whatever I'm doing, if I raise my level of intensity and I attack it, then I can get better. and then the next day I raise it again, and then I can get better. You keep raising the intensity, and you can't afford to get comfortable or look for some relief in the process, because there is no relief in the process. And so it's our job as coaches to press these guys hard every day to make sure that they bring the intensity, and then if they have peer accountability, then the guys can push each other and hold each other accountable, and then we won't have any complacency. We won't have guys getting comfortable and looking for relief and thinking about last year and things like that, because we didn't even do anything last year.
Tucker, clearly a guy who likes to lead by example, and he's setting that intensity and that lack of complacency himself right in that first press conference.
Yeah, it's interesting because, you know, I actually always like it, and like I know Nick and Ian, we always like it when he starts to get fired up like that in his press conferences, because you can feel it coming through, and then you're thinking to yourself, okay, if he's like that in his press conferences, like he's even more intense, obviously, on the practice field and in games and everything. And we saw that today too. He you know, a big point of emphasis for him right now, going into this year, is he is working with the cornerbacks in practice. Like that, he's made a lot of, he's made it very clear that he's going to be with them. And he was today when we first got out there for the technique and fundamentals portion that we're open. I mean, we don't get to see a lot. We're there for about 3 periods, which ends up being about 12 minutes. But he was with them for that entire time. And, you know, you can hear him. He's like, toes on the line, or, you know, toes behind the line, toes on the line. And, you know, he's just making sure, and he's doing the drills, going through the drills with them, and just kind of walking them through that. Because last year, Andrew, the secondary was atrocious. And we can say that, and it's not a, you know, Mel knows that, the players know that, it's not a secret, so, and it's not bashing them because it's the truth.
Yeah, and I think, I was going to say that myself, that, you know, anyone who watched Michigan State for 12 games, if that's Mel Tucker, if that's the guys who are on the field, if that's, you know, you or me or fans, anyone could have told you last year Michigan State's secondary is going to be what they're going to need to improve to get to that next level this year.
Yeah.
Ohio State is the game that comes to mind where, you know, Michigan State was out of the game before it even started, because Ohio State was just torching them downfield, and that's where you can lose a game before you even have a chance. So interesting to see Tucker, you know, inserting himself into that and really putting himself on the line. Like, hey, we're going to clean this up, and I'll oversee it myself if I have to.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, that's his specialty. That's his forte. You know, that is his niche, as if you want to call it. And yeah, because they were last in the nation last year in passing yards, passing yards allowed per game, 324 yards average a game. That's not good at all, and they face more pass attempts than any other team.
Yeah, and you just can't win football games like that. I mean, they had a pretty good offense, but you can't compete like that when you're just, you know, falling down so early.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, another key point of today was, you know, and if this is, we were talking about this too. When is it going to come to the point where we stop talking about Ken Walker?
Yeah.
Because it's going to be really hard. I mean, right now it was a big emphasis at Big Ten Football Media Days in Indianapolis, and it even came up today because everybody wants to know, you know, who's going to fill that void. And we know, not that we're going to compare every single running back to Ken, because that is not fair. You can't do that. Doak Walker Award winner. It's just not possible. But they do feel like they have a lot of good players at that position. The 2 transfers, Jalen Berger and Jarek Broussard from Colorado. Jarek Broussard was brought up a lot today. And, you know, if you look at this video, we're going to show you some video of when we were at practice this morning. He's sort of built like Ken, which, you know, Ken is a little bit more, he was a little bit more muscular, I guess you could say, but I mean, he definitely has the same build. You'll see, Andrew, that, you know, he looks like a running back, a Division I running back. And so they have a lot of high expectations for him. And, you know, he's more mature. Obviously, Tucker knows him from when he was at Colorado. And, you know, he was a lot younger back then. And so here is what Tucker had to say about Jarek Broussard.
The biggest challenge is knowing what to do within this scheme, you know, what we're asking them to do, like, you know the plays and the terminology and things like that. And so, and he's been familiar with that, you know, but it's been a little bit. And then, but what he does well, he's an explosive player, like he's an explosive athlete. You can see the way, you know, the way he's built. I mean, he runs with power, and he's got quickness, and he's got speed. He's got burst, you know, through traffic, you know, and he's got really good awareness and instincts, and he can catch. He's a credible receiver, out of the backfield, you know. So, and he's just in general, just a football player. Like he loves to play football. So, those are the things that he brings, and obviously he's got to prove it, just like everyone else, myself included, every single day, and earn the right to get out there and get some touches, and and get some targets. And so, and we have competition at that position. So those guys are going to have to push, they're going to have to strain, they're going to have to take care of the football, and we're going to have a really good camp with that group.
Yeah, I think that's the big question coming into this season. Michigan State's got a lot of returning players, but the one position where they're not returning is that running back slot there. So it should be interesting to see if it's Broussard or if it's committee. If you're not Alabama, a lot of times it is a committee or a couple different guys coming in to fill a star leaving like that. So it's not something that's never happened elsewhere either. So it's obviously a challenge, but I think it sounds like they got some horses in the truck there ready to take Ken Walker's role there.
Yeah, and Davion Prim, I mean, they have a lot of young guys. That's another topic that's come up just so far, is a mix between the veteran players and the newcomers like last year, and they were able to fuse it all together, so that should not be a problem, and they all know in their minds it won't be a problem this year either. Now, I don't know if you saw the shirt, Mel Tucker's shirt that he was wearing today during his press conference, all about the ball. He has a lot of different sayings that you'll hear him mention. We heard him last year, like the eye in the sky does not lie, and those are a reference to the cameras that are all throughout, the practice facility and the field, so that he can, watch the tape, because he loves to watch tape. But all about the ball. So the ball, the ball, the ball. And, if you're not going to the ball, you're not, protecting the ball, then you're in trouble. So that was his shirt. We had to not pick on him for his fashion today, but, he is a very fashionable guy. And, he was asked what shoes he was wearing. Just standard Nikes. Nothing crazy.
Quite a bit different conversation than Mark D'Antonio, per se, who was he had his sweatshirt and maybe a pullover if he was feeling a little frisky.
Completely different, that's for sure. But it's fun. And you know what? You have to have a little bit of fun in fall camp. Because you're feeling it out, so it's good.
By the way, can I shout out? These are some really cool shots you guys had here.
Thank you.
The side shot here, and then you had some like Hard Knock style shots here. I'll fast forward. Look at that.
Yeah,
that's well done from the Six Sports team there.
Gotta kudos our chief photographer, Connor Wilton, for setting up that shot for us. We are, the Coaches Show is going to be starting in a couple of weeks. Brand new season of the Coaches Show. So
this one is cool too.
Yeah,
I mean, that looks like Hard Knocks right there. So.
Thanks, Andrew. The other thing too, obviously, Peyton Thorne. He's the quarterback. He's the guy. He's QB1. There's no doubt about that. He was asked about who would be the backup though today. Who he thought in his mind might be able to fill that role, and he thinks Noah Kim, out of everybody, is the most solid contender.
Interesting. Yeah. Nice little development out of the camp here today.
Yeah.
And hopefully, obviously, Michigan State is thinking, they don't have to worry about that with Thorne being such a proven veteran at this point, but, it's still, you never know. So
yeah, I mean, you never know. I don't foresee anything like that happening, and I don't think he does either, but yeah, so Noah Kim looks like, from just early assessment and what he's able to see and being in the quarterback room, Noah Kim, probably the backup. The other thing that was brought up today, too, that was interesting is, Michigan State was picked to finish 4th in the division this year, in the East Division. And a lot of them think that's like a jab at them. They don't appreciate that. And so Peyton Thorne commented on that, and here's what he had to say.
People say, oh, you love to be the underdog, this and that, and that's all fun and good, but, at some point you want to get to the point where no, we are projected up here every year, and so that's what we're trying to get to, but we do have a chip on our shoulder. We have something to prove, and we feel that every year. It's Michigan State, we don't get a ton of respect. That's just how it is. That's how it's been. And so we got a chip on our shoulder, and we're excited to go out there and show the country what we got.
Peyton Thorne reminding everyone that, like most good Michigan State teams, they got that chip on the shoulder. It seems to be time and time again. Football, basketball, it seems to be the theme in East Lansing.
Yeah, and he's not wrong.
No, he's not. I mean, fourth place is, a little, if you were Michigan State, a little disrespectful for sure. I mean, they beat Michigan last year, really only lost to Ohio State, and then they had the loss to
Purdue
in the other division. So
yeah.
Expectations are going to be high, and they, can only look at themselves in the building there, and then outside, it is what it is. You can't control that. So
yeah, I mean, obviously, yes, Michigan defending Big Ten champions. Ohio State is Ohio State. There's no, way around that. But they know that the road to a Big Ten title goes through Columbus.
Yes,
essentially. And last year, Michigan had their moment, I would say. But I mean, and who knows? This year it could be. Who knows?
Yeah, and I think that, if you're Michigan State, Ohio State is, like you said, they're Ohio State. The road goes through Columbus. Michigan won the Big Ten championship last year.
Yeah.
Beat Ohio State, went to the college football playoff. So those two you can understand. Of course, they don't feel great about it, but you can understand it. But, to be fourth place, and, it's a little bit, that's where it goes a little awry, I think, where they might get a little upset.
Well, it's interesting, too, that they were picked that low because, I mean, they lost Walker. Okay. Jalen Naylor is gone too, but they have some really strong receivers in Keon Coleman. A lot of people are talking about freshman Jeremy Bernard. His name has come up a lot in just the last couple of days, or last week in Indy, and then even today his name came up. Trey Mosley, so that's another position that, they're going to have to, who's going to take Jalen's spot, and we think maybe Keon, but right now it's very early. But that's a position, the wide receiver position. Jaden Reed seems to think that they have the best wide receiver core in the country.
I mean, they have...
Or Big Ten, sorry. Big Ten.
I'm sure he thinks the country, too. Let's be honest.
Well, he's one of the best receivers in the country, so...
I mean, Michigan State's got a really strong group of receivers coming back. I mean, it obviously helps to have a guy like Jaden Reed at the top, kind of setting that bar and moving everybody up a little bit. Because, if the number 2 is the number 1, then all of a sudden everybody's, tougher matchups. So having a guy like Jaden Reed back is huge. I think filling that hole in the running game is going to be the big question mark on the offensive side of the ball. Because Thorne and Reed and those receivers, I think they're going to be able to pass the ball decently well.
Yeah. And they want to be able to run the ball. I mean, that's always been a staple of Michigan State football. Even Mark D'Antonio or Mel Tucker, running the ball, even back to Duffy Doherty days. I mean, oh gosh, I'm trying to think of the saying right now. No rock. No block, no rock. That's a little different, but anyway.
Everyone's got their sayings.
Yeah. So overall, good first day. I think it was a good first day. They're only going to continue to build upon it, but those were the main highlights that we took away from opening day of fall camp for Michigan State football this year.
Well, yeah, exciting day. Lots more to come here. We're going to try to continue doing this, right? At least for the rest of the fall camp here.
Yeah.
And take advantage of the studio we got here. And like Audrey said, we have all this video and information that we gather from these practices. Yeah. So be sure to check us out here because this is where you're going to find it.
Yeah, and always welcome to questions, comments.
Yes.
Anything, get yourself into the conversation a little bit. We'd love to do some Q&A and keep the discussion rolling even more. So. Yeah,
absolutely. So.
All right.
Let's sign off.
You want to sign off? Yeah. I'll sign off. I can sign us off. All right. So, yeah, thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you next week.